have the direct fire lance. So in this box set, you get an Atlas, Marauder 2, an Orion, and a Crusader. So these BattleTechs give their crews the armor protection and lethal firepower to lead from the front and take the fight to the enemy. So these are your, this is your line. This is your hold. They hold the line. They do the center of your board sort of thing.
That's it.
All right. So let's start with. Well, let's start with the main one, the iconic one, the Atlas. Okay.
I mean, you can't go wrong with an Atlas, can you? You can't. Really. I mean, it's slow, but it is so heavily armed and armored that if anybody wants to get, if anyone ends up anywhere near it, it's getting obliterated.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a fire start, right? It's a direct fire lance.
Direct fire lance. Yeah.
Okay.
So the Atlas, 100 tons. It's the heaviest you can sort of get with that sort of thing.
Yep.
Especially from the earlier eras.
Big, like gobs of armor.
Yep. Lots of armor. Lots of tonnage to equipment. And
the weaponry is just insanely powerful in multiple ranges.
Yep. And it has rear firing lasers.
Yes.
A couple of medium lasers, which is nice. So I think when it was first released onto the battlefield, it had a LRM 20, AC
and an AC 20.
It had a couple of medium lasers on the rear, SRM 6 launcher, I think.
Yeah, I think it was a 6.
And I think it had a couple more medium lasers to the front.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was medium lasers on the front as well. Yeah, so one AC 20, one LRM 20, one SRM 6, and 4 medium lasers. So 2 of them would be rear facing.
Now we're talking single heat sinks back then.
Yeah.
Well, so it had a lot to cover most things, but it was pretty good. But it's more to do with you go in there and start kicking and punching and things like that. You start doing a lot of damage.
Well, it was supposed to be scaring the poo out of people as well. That was one of his original.
That's right. Yeah, they put a lot of emphasis onto the face thing, which is good.
The death's head.
They did the same for the Akuma, which was the Draconis Combine design later on. They did a big heavy 90-ton mech, and an Akuma is like demon. I think that's what it translates to.
Yeah, something like that.
They had the face with all that sort of thing. They're going for that, but. The skull face on the Atlas is a bit hard to top.
It's pretty much at the top of the range there, really. 20 single heat sinks.
Yeah.
So he's covering most of that, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be running warm if you're like trying to run.
There were some variants that swapped out the weapons to a couple of ER medium lasers and
Gauss rifles and all that sort of stuff.
All that sort of thing. So the heat was sort of mitigated, but sort of not.
There's a C3 Master in one of them.
Yeah. And a C3 Slave in another.
Ooh.
So there's some options there. Again, House Curita were the ones that sort of brought up those different variants. All right. So there's that one. So the second one is a Marauder 2.
Which is just the Marauder, but on steroids. And if I understand it correctly, they took all of the flaws that were in the Marauder and just wiped them out. Wasn't it like...
It's 100 tons, so it weighs the same as the Atlas. So the Marauder 2 is... pretty much the main thing. There was a mercenary unit for them as well, I think.
It was the Wolf
Barbara's Marauders, I think they call it.
Oh yeah, they only
basically had Marauder 2. So imagine that. What you got?
We've
got Marauder 2s. Okay.
There it is. Barber's Marauder 2s.
Marauder 2s. So yeah, so 100 tons. We're looking at PPCs and medium lasers and
2
AC-10s or something.
2 ER PPCs, 2 medium lasers, and 1 LBX-10.
There you go.
And it's 54k an hour run, so
same speed as the Atlas, I think.
Yeah, it'd be a 3.5 or a 4.6, one of the two.
I think it's the same speed.
Mm. But they have 29 single heat sinks. And I'm pretty sure you can fire the ERPPCs are only...
Well, they're 15 each.
Are they 15 for the Hemisphere?
Yeah. 15.
Yeah.
15 heat, 10 damage still, but a bit longer range. No minimum, that's nice.
So you're almost able to fire everything without having too much heat management. If you fire just one PPC and everything else, you're okay.
Yeah.
But they're a solid machine as well. They're pretty heavily armoured, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good.
You got some solid damage coming out of those weapons as well, and a few variants by the look. Well,
there are variants.
Yeah,
yeah.
There's a load of variants.
Yeah. But as far as like an assault or whatever with that sort of weapons payload, it's got the range. That's what I like about it. It has more damage at range potential than the Atlas.
Yeah, with those PPCs.
Similar sort of armor and speed and things like that. So not relying so much on ammunition is good, but an LB is great. You can switch it out.
As long as you got the 2 tons, you're switching.
I'm pretty sure it does. So that's good. So yeah, so that's quite a nice ride. Next one we have is the Orion. All right, so very well-known mech. I think it was Alexander Kerensky's ride.
Apparently, yes.
Alexander was the son.
The
Kerensky.
The
original Kerensky.
The guy.
Son, yeah.
The big dude.
Anyway, so I've always known him as General Kerensky.
Yeah, well, that's good enough.
It's fine.
But that's a solid mech as well.
That is, yeah. It's a bit faster, so I think we're talking like a 4.6. So it is a little bit faster than the others. You've got a combination of LRMs and medium lasers and autocannons.
Yep, Act-10, LRM-15, 2 mediums and an SR-4.
So that's pretty good.
And yeah, it's got a 64 top speed. So the others must have been 3.5s.
Yeah, so it is a bit slow. So having an SRM-4, it's only got 1 ton of ammo, so you can choose, but you can at least load it up with some different types of ammo because you've got that freedom.
But with that, you'd probably take either just damaging stuff or Infernos, one of the two.
Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't got the tech to take things like tandem charge and all that sort of junk, then you just take either damaging or Inferno.
Yeah, just overheat them.
With the purpose of these assault mechs, I would take damaging every time.
Yeah. But it's got a nice sort of choice of weapons, different ranges. Obviously, it's going to do more the closer you get, but we're having that speed a little bit faster. Allows you to sort of get away from something that's a bit heavier.
Yeah. So it's not putting out quite the same amount of damage as some of the other bigger ones, but it's faster, so you've got more chance of staying alive to deal the damage that you are dishing out. So, and you're not taking as much in return. And again, heaps of variants.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Yeah.
The Alexander Kerensky.
So it was Alexander.
Yeah.
Maybe he had one after his.
It's possible.
Yeah, his dad.
So, personal battle mech of commanding general Alexander Kerensky during the war against the usurper. Designers removed the LRM-15 and Act-10 to make room for other equipment, adding an experimental snub-nose PPC in the left torso and an Artemis 4 fire control system for the SRMs.
Nice.
Right torso has a Gauss rifle in the former location of the autocannon. The medium lasers from the original are retained, but you get ferrofibrisant case. Right, okay.
So for an increase in, obviously, C-bill costs, because that'd be a bit.
Yeah.
And probably BV.
Yeah.
Not much, though, I imagine.
1800-ish, I think that one was.
Okay.
1821. And the original is 1429, so a good 400 across.
Okay. But you've got a head chopper weapon.
Yeah, well, that's a Gauss rifle.
Huge range.
Gives you a cool bit.
That's quite nice. You tend to pop one of those on there and it's really nasty. So. And the last one is a Crusader. Right?
Which is a cool mech.
It is.
I quite like.
65 tons, got the same speed as the Orion, and I think the standard might actually come with jump jets.
I'm pretty sure the Crusader has jump jets on.
I don't know, there are some.
Pretty much all of its variants, doesn't it? Oh no, it's not
Not at all.
Not listed on there.
No.
But 2 LRM-15s, 2 SRM-6s, 2 medium lasers and 2 machine guns in the base level guy. And yeah, it'd be a 4.6 and it's 1,317.
Yeah, that's nice.
And if I remember correctly, the Crusader is pretty heavily armoured for its weight class.
It's got a lot of weapons.
And that's a lot of damage coming out of there.
So two indirect fire weapons doing an average of probably 9 points.
Yep. You can sit them somewhere and
Yeah.
Like I say, you can have him with a unit that's firing indirectly, let him run his ammo out, and then he can just run in there and start SRM6ing and medium lasering people.
Yeah.
And he'll have a solid punch behind him for a 65 ton.
Mm.
Not as good as an Atlas, obviously.
but it's still pretty good.
It's still pretty good.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's a good all-rounder, that one.
So now we've looked at all 4 of those. You can ask the question, Tarron. Which is your ride? Keep in mind, you are the centre. You are protecting the command lance. You are going to be going into battle.
These are your damage dealers.
Yes.
Right, so...
They get in there to try and mess it up.
Yeah, in the actual fire force, the formation, you're getting the sniper ability for the base level one, the box set one.
Nice.
With one of those, that's killer. Right, so sniper is not a weapon specific thing. You're just halving the
range modifier.
The range modifier, yeah. So you halve the range modifier for everything. According to the clan book. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've got campaign ops in here. I might have a look in there and see what you get.
But that's fine.
But it's basically the same thing.
So this book is what? Can I just take that so people can see?
Yeah, that's the clan.
So this came from the clan invasion one that introduced the clans first. So it had a couple of elementals in there and 5 mechs plus some other, like introduced the clan tech stuff. Yeah. Nice box, and there's some good stuff in there. So I recommend you get it. But that's
I did go through these formations in a workshop video. If you're interested in finding out about them, have a look, see what you reckon. But
well, any of those would be good for sniper.
With sniper, any of them would be formidable. I mean, they're already formidable, but they would be taking names.
So an AC-20 with sniper.
Yeah, and you want to make the shots count with those things because they're very difficult to do. I think
it comes with a couple of times, so that's 10 shots. You've got 10 shots with it. So having sniper on that guy would be quite nice.
That will work out quite well. But I mean, just as a mech for what they do, I would probably... I mean, it'd be a toss-up between the Atlas for the icon sort of thing and the Crusader. I quite like the Crusader. I suppose if I'm going to be like a tactical genius and intelligent about things, I'd pick the Orion because that's the one the guy does. But I'm not, so I'm not going to. The Atlas is scary and he's got the mercenary head on.
Yes.
And I like that.
Yes.
And there's a lot of different variants of the Atlas. You can get a lot of different types of Atlas, and for a big BV game, they're quite cool. If you rock up to a game where they haven't specified anything except a BV, and you've got people with a lance of like medium mechs with decent pilots in them, and you rock up with a 0-0 dude in an Atlas, they're dead. They outnumber you, and it can get interesting, but if you can get the solid shots on, then you can blow the brains out of them one by one and just shock everybody. It's fun. So I guess if I had to pick one, it'd probably be the Atlas. I do like the Crusader though. Yeah. It would be up in the air which one would be better.
So you'll be sacrificing armor but gaining speed. There's some options with jump, and you've got 2 indirect fire weapons.
Yeah, more long range indirect fire.
And in theory, its heat should be better because it has a lot of. It's only got like a couple of medium lasers. The rest is all ballistic. So you're putting a lot of your weight into...
Most of it's ballistic. It's only taken the standard 10 heat sinks. LRM-15s generate a reasonable amount of heat.
5.
I've had a problem with them, yeah.
They're 5.
So, so you're...
But if you're not moving, if you're behind like cover and things like that, and you're doing indirect fire, you've got no heat issues. You're not moving.
Yeah, so you're not moving, so you're not building anything else up. You haven't taken any hits yet because you've been behind a wall or building or whatever, and you're just indirect firing them. You can do both every turn and not worry about heat. And then you just stride out and start SRMing and medium lasering people.
That's right.
And the SRM6s are 4 heat. So that's 8 heat plus run. You use them first. Pepper everybody that's been done with the thing. So yeah, definitely it's a definite toss-up between those two. But if I had to pick one, and only one, it would probably be the Atlas.
The Atlas, yeah. It's probably going to attract a lot of attention though too.
Yeah, but sometimes that's a bonus. If you've got
You're in it though.
But if you've got a lot of other stuff, I mean, if you're a commander and you're commanding things, if you've got a lot of other stuff happening that you want to happen, while everybody's focusing fire on that Atlas, they're not doing anything about anything else.
That's true.
So using that as a, here's my big scary thing, it's striding right up the middle of the thing, ignore this, don't look at that, don't worry about him, look at me, I'm huge, Bar! That's a tactic, it's a way to do things.
Alright.
I would pick Atlas.
Atlas?
If I have to pick one, it'll be Atlas.
Okay, so.
I think you would probably go with the Orion.
The Orion?
Yes.
Okay.
But that's just me.
Yep, that's cool. Why do you think the Orion?
Because
why do you
the
think me?
Kerensky thing, you've mentioned it before. You were very gushy when we talked about it on the Lance thing. You were very knowledgeable about it, so I think it's one of your higher up ones, although I could be wrong. So I don't know. I think you'd probably go with the Orion.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. So now we have the last lance. All right. So an inner sphere fire lance.